right, let's break your avoidance cycle once and for all. So one of the factors in avoidance is that you're typically engaging in competing incentive structures, which means you want two things at once. Usually that involves not wanting to fail, but also wanting to take a risk in which you get something you want. So in this video, let's use the example of going for a promotion, right? So you have to present your case to your manager and take that risk of rejection, right? And so in this case, you want both. You want the promotion, but you also don't want to feel ashamed, and you don't want to feel rejected, and you don't want to feel like a failure. So you want to avoid failure, but you want to get promotion. And so here we have a competing incentive structure, which usually results in some type of avoidance. And in order to break the avoidance, we need to understand what's happening here. So we really need to break it down, right? And one of the big factors in avoidance that we need to help ourselves with is to identify what emotion we're trying to avoid. So in this case, we're probably feeling a lot of fear. So we're maybe trying to avoid the fear that we experience while we ask for the promotion. And maybe we're also trying to avoid the humiliation that we feel when we get rejected, right? And so what happens for most of us is that a lot of us don't want to even accept that we're experiencing this. So this is the first step. So identify, and then we need to accept. We need to accept these parts of ourselves, right? So it's okay that I'm scared, and it's okay that I want to avoid humiliation. Like, I'm human, makes sense. Everyone mostly functions that way. That this is completely normal. And this is the reason why I want to avoid asking for the promotion, because I don't want to feel the pain of humiliation and the pain of rejection and the fear. Essentially what's happening here mentally is that you're like trying to get yourself to touch a hot stove. You know the stove is hot and you know it's gonna hurt, but you're trying to get yourself to do it anyways. It's not really something the mind is super well calibrated for. And so if you can accept that, that's really important. So we're not going to judge ourselves. We're not going to say like, what's wrong with you? Why haven't you done this yet? Which is what a lot of people do. Or just, use your willpower through it. What happens here is that for a lot of us, we need reassurance. And so that's the last step that needs to happen here. So the first step is identify. The second step is accept. Accept that it's okay to feel a lot of fear around this. It's normal. You should feel fear, because we don't like these things. Like, we don't like feeling humiliated and rejected. And the third step is to reassure. This is something that like literally almost everyone is missing. And you're really missing out on helping yourself if you don't learn this step. And that is to reassure yourself around the emotion that you're scared of. So it's like, okay, I know I'm scared. It's normal to feel scared. I'm doing something hard, right? I'm putting myself in this risk of social appraisal, which for humans is like literally one of the scariest things we can do because we're such social creatures. And so just reassuring yourself, telling yourself like, hey, what you're doing is really hard. Like, of course you would be scared. Of course you wouldn't want to feel humiliated. All of us want to avoid humiliation. And it's gonna, if it does happen, it's gonna hurt. But we're not gonna judge ourselves. We're not gonna shame ourselves for it. We're gonna be proud of ourselves that we did it, right? And so that reassurance, however it looks for you, this is something most people really need to practice, because for a lot of people it feels strange in the beginning. They're like, I'm used to criticizing myself. What is this reassurance stuff, right? And so sometimes it can be helpful to think like, okay, if a friend was in this situation, if a family member was in this situation, how would I talk to them? And try to talk to yourself that way, because this is such a missing skill for people. So identify, accept, reassure. And this will get you out of avoidance, because for a lot of you, you're avoiding something that you foresee being painful. Even though you want the benefit of that risk that you're hoping to take, you see it as being painful. And so you need to give yourself some type of reassurance around stepping into this potential pain. Because just like forcing yourself into it or telling yourself like, oh, just do it, isn't really the way that's gonna help you accomplish anything. And probably you're watching this video because you're still stuck in the avoidance. So hopefully that helps. Takes a lot of practice, but it really works. I've seen it work over and over and over again. I've seen it work for artists. I've seen it work for professionals, for corporate types, for VPs, for writers, all kinds of things. So whatever kind of industry you're in, this really works, and it will help you break the cycle of avoidance.